Hello, beautiful human. Thanks for clicking on our conversation with Anthony Ramos. We have a lot to discuss, including In the Heights, obviously, and he has a brand new album out, Love and Lies. If you haven't listened to it, link in the description below. While you're down there, leave your honest feedback in the comment section, hit like, and we've noticed that you guys watch our interviews, but you don't subscribe, so please, I'm begging you, throw us that subscription. Hit the button. It's worth it, I promise. Okay, Anthony Ramos, a lot to discuss. Here we go.
Let's do this. Zach Show.
Hello, beautiful human. My name is Zach. That is Dan, and we welcome Anthony Ramos. Kind of to the show. I feel like I'm looking at Usnavi staring through the window. Like, those moments were so powerful. The movie has really brought the most joy into my life at a time where I really needed it. So, thank you for your work on it. Thank you.
Man, we made it with a lot of love, and that was the goal. So I'm grateful that you feel that.
And you can tell the love is there. It shows. And you're living a very unique existence right now because you're in Montreal and you're shooting another movie. You're Transformers in Disguise.
Transformers, Robots in Disguise. Yes, I'm shooting Transformers 7 right now. Yeah, it's wild. I'm in quarantine. I'm in day 7. So I just been in this house. Doing my best to promote this album and this film and whilst hanging out in the crib and just eating and working out and passing the time. So it's been good, man. It's been good. I'm excited about this movie too, man. It's about to be crazy.
Love and Lies is the album. We're going to dissect all of it, but is it unique to add movie star to your title and to who Anthony Ramos is in the public sphere?
Yeah. I don't get, there's nothing normal about, I guess, what comes with doing something that people see around the world and then everything else that comes with that. I mean, I don't, somebody asked me, are you ready for your life to change? A few people have asked me that, and I'm like, I don't know. I mean, you just make adjustments as you go. I'm not ready for. I don't know if anyone's ready for their life to change when it changes. However that happens, but you just like make adjustments. So I guess I'm just doing my best to adjust to whatever comes of these dreams that I've had. So, but yeah, it's kind of cool, man. It's cool. It's cool when people say it. That is cool. But I never dreamt in a million years, man. Come on, man. Transformers, I used to watch this shit as a kid.
It's rather insane, dude. Love and Lies is the album, and I'd be dumb not to bring up. I mean, we have so much to discuss here. I want to start with music, and because you're in Transformers. In the Heights is a movie that made my year. So far, the best movie I've seen this year, hands down. There's responsibility when bringing a musical to the big screen, because there's power in it too. You're telling a story that in order for people to really understand, they had to travel to New York City or catch it while it was on the road, catch it while it was active and touring, whatever. Now they have this story that is so impactful and so powerful and represents so many literally in the palm of their hand. It's, I don't even, I mean, it's like goes beyond an artist who takes part in musical theater. It goes beyond their wildest dreams to a certain degree. Is there responsibility taking on the role of Usnavi?
Yeah, just don't mess it up. I think that was it. That was the responsibility. Get out of the way of the music. Get out of the way of the dialogue, of the story. Just like do your best to find where you fit in and just be as honest as possible, bro. Like when you got somebody like Lynn who writes like the way he writes and he does what he does at the level that he does it, it's like just stay out of the way. Yeah. Like you assume your role, you just slide into the slot and because the train's moving already. And so yeah, I mean, I do feel responsibility in the fact that he played this role on Broadway, and I did want to I wanted to do it as best as I possibly could, and I wanted him to watch and people to watch and be like, yo, that was fly. That's what's up. I believe that guy. And and I did that to the best of my ability. I gave it my all. So there's nothing I would take back for sure. So I do feel the responsibility, but I'm grateful for it because I think it only um, brought out a performance that out of me that I'm proud of.
You tapped into something that I thought was really important. I believe that guy. And when I was watching with my friends, that's all we could keep saying is like we felt like we were there. We felt like this was the most honest. You were just a fly on the wall in the shop or in the apartment or anywhere in the neighborhood. It was, you really felt transformed. And I mean, truly, truly, truly spectacular. Does it come natural to you because you're a performer and you can do the same performance 8 times a week to do a routine? I mean, I'm assuming sometimes you would do something 8 times in a day, right? You do a lot of takes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. Like that champagne scene that I did with Melissa Barrera. We did that.
So good.
We did that joint like probably like 17 takes of that, and that was the oneer. So for anyone who's listening that doesn't know what a oneer is, it's like you have to do the entire shot in one shot. So the song is playing all the way through. We're singing all the way through. The camera's moving all the way. The camera doesn't cut once. Um, and if it did, it was only at the end. It was at the very, very end of the song where you just hear the little piano thing. But that's like not over 3 minutes, but that's an entire song of one continuous shot. So I think, yeah, being on Broadway helped with that and performing live and having that adrenaline of like feeling like, yo, I don't have another chance at this. I don't have another shot at this. That helps in those moments where you like, yo, I don't even know if he's going to give us another take at this. Plus, even if he wanted another take, if we're running out of time or we running out of light, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
You ain't getting another take. So I think there's that added element where that gives you this extra like level of focus that I think both Melissa and I had in that moment, from our perspective. And I think, and Mark, who's on the camera, he's, that it was big. It was that, but yeah, I think all of those things help, especially performing live and having performed shows 8 times a week. That does help in those moments when you're on set and you're like, yo, we only have like two times left to do this. But I think he picked like the 6th take anyway, so it was cool to know that we got it early on.
Really? And wow. I mean, by the way, watching you, I was watching behind the scenes TikTok of you watching them dance in the pool. I mean, really, top to bottom, like what, so incredibly hard to orchestrate and choreograph. I mean, because there's so many different moving elements. But what is it like just sitting back and watching that? Especially a scene like that, which is incredibly powerful because just the sheer number of people moving in unison and people from all different walks of life looking so different from one another. I mean, it was so cool. It was so cool to see old people and young people. That's crazy. I didn't even know there was a video of Yeah, you're sitting there watching and it's from behind.
Yeah, when we were sitting on
in the chairs.
The chairs. Yeah. And even before the take, I got up and I was like yelling out. I was so hyped because it was cold, man. It was cold. It was freezing. The water was mad cold. Like, I was like, I mean, people were like, yo, am I gonna get hypothermia? Like it was like that, and I think that was a part of, like, we were filming in the elements. It was gray out. It was raining. It was cold. The water was cold. Like, and the dancers are in the water. And it was just like, there was, I think this sense of unanimously everybody on the set felt this sense of like, yo, but this is way bigger than any of us. We're doing this movie. We're telling this story for way more than ourselves. This ain't about us. This is for the people that came before us that never had this opportunity, and the kids that will now, hopefully, God willing, have an opportunity to tell more stories like this. If we can just make it through and tell this story as honestly as possible, And you know, and just to have this movie in the world, man, I think is again, that number, that triumph, that number was like a triumph, you know, I think for everyone, you know, to be able to fight through the elements and to still get it done like that. That's why I was so hyped. That's why we all were so hyped in the chairs, because we knew what we were all going through together, and I know what them dancers were feeling. And that they were cold, they were freezing, and still they had to get it on every take, and they had to hit the right moment, hit the jump on the right count, you know, in the middle of all of that. And I think there was just this sense of unity and love that got us, that not didn't only get us through that day, but got us through the shoot.
Well, and you touched on something really important. It's the impact and the power that this project has. I think it's really what theater and musical theater, like the impact that it has on people once it touches them, and the fact that it's a movie and it's so much larger just than a theater. You know what I mean? Like, it really has the potential to unlock potential in people that may have never made their way to the Great White Way to sit in any theater to see any show. And it's you can't even quantify the impact that something like this can have on society and the world and culture moving forward.
I don't even know. You know, what's funny is was the reality of it is that we won't even really see the impact until we're old or dead. You know, if I'm gonna be honest, nobody's gonna really even see the impact, right? It's like, if we're really gonna keep it real, like, you know, there are certain pieces of art that stand the test of time, and people talk about that album, or they'll talk about that show, or they'll talk about that one performance at that Super Bowl or whatever it was, or that live show that people watch for years to come, or they'll talk about that one book or that poem. Like, we don't even know what this movie is going to do. And that to me is exciting, you know, because, and that's the best part about making art, is that you just put it out, you do it from your heart, and you put it out, and then it's going to it outlives you, and then it does whatever it's going to do. You know, and I'm just I'm looking forward to, I guess my hope is that it it just opens doors for more stories like this to be told, man.
Hey, do you care? And this is my last In the Heights question. Do you care about an Oscar nomination? Because all my friends and I were saying was, Anthony's going to get one, Abuela's going to get one. Really, by the way, I would love to see her win. She is.
I think Olga should win an Oscar. There's no dispute there. I think Olga should 1,000% get an Oscar for that performance. That song is my favorite moment in the movie. Her journey with, just from like her journey from playing the role even before it was on Broadway, to then off Broadway, and then years later playing the role in the film. Like, just that full circle moment for her to get the Oscar would be like the completion. That would be like the stamp. That's the notary. Boom. You know, we've arrived. So whoever votes for that, all the people that do, come on.
Her performance, I mean, I cried so hard in this. Every time I watched it, it was like I was watching it for the first time.
What's crazy about that scene that I did with her was that my grandmother, when I was 10 years old, what's crazy was I found her in her room the same way, on the same side of the bed, like that. Like, I was walked in the room and found her. She was actually lying on her back, or maybe on her side, and then we rolled on her back, but she was on the same side as Abuela when she passed away. So when I did that scene, it was mad visceral for me. My aunt even texted me, one of my aunts, and was like, "Yo, were you thinking about Ita when you did that scene?" And I said I was. She said, "Yeah, I could tell."
Do you channel that before? Do you channel that after? Like, how does that make its way into how you're working on the set? That like channeling that emotion from that moment.
I think it's just not running away from it, you know, and really just like leaning into it, because it's a real moment. It's a real moment, and it happened. You know, the whole ambulance coming in the house. I remember my whole family came to our house when she passed away. And I remember the ambulance coming in and taking her away. I mean, it was wild, man. And I know I was 10 and I'm playing an adult in this, and I'm an adult in this movie, but um, I think tapping into that stuff sometimes can help you go where you need to be in the scene, and I went there, bro. It was wild, man. I still remember it.
Does that emotion linger with you afterwards once you
Yeah,
wrap?
sure. I cried hard. My brother was on set that day, and uh, he actually asked me like, "Yo, what happened? Why you crying?" Because I came out and I just cried, and I was like, "Yo, bro, like I just gave my brother a hug, man." I started crying. He's like, "Yo, what's good? You all right?" And I don't even think he knew I tapped into that in my brain, but it took me about 10 minutes, maybe 15, to actually come down from where I went emotionally. Um, because I did go back to a traumatic experience in my life, for a scene, and those can be hard sometimes to come back from. Um, but thankfully, I didn't linger there. I think it takes a few minutes, and then all right, snap back into it. Okay, we back in the mix. But I remember where I am in the moment.
Is there any similarities to that process and like creating music from experiences?
Very, bro. I mean, I've written songs, man, where I've been in the studio and I just got emotional listening back because I can't even believe that came out of me. I can't even believe I opened up in that way. Certain songs that are out, certain songs that will never come out, like my song "The Good and the Bad." When I would be on tour, talking about the good and the bad, the title track for the last album, I I I'd get emotional on stage because I started recalling the moments that I talk about in the song. Almost went to the Navy. Thank God for Jason. He saved me. Picked up the phone and called Sarah because she knew where music could take me. She gave me money for applications. She told me I needed an education. She sat me down with all the papers. I had the temper. She had the patience. Like I remember that like it was yesterday. That whole story, and listening back to that song, it got to me. But when I told the story on tour, and then the people I told the story about in the song were at the show, that took it to another level. When Jason and Sarah were actually in the audience, and I'm like, "Yo, everybody, Jason's here." Brought him on stage. Sarah's here. These are the people this song is about, and telling that story, and almost being not even being able to get through it in the telling of the story before I even sang the song, but I think that's what's so amazing about art, man. And that's what I'm so grateful for, because it is true. Thank God for Jason. He saved me, picked up the phone and called. So like, I mean those words, and I think, it's like, even if a song is not about your life, if that comes from an honest place, it'll be about somebody's.
Yes. Well, but that's the amazing, again, another amazing thing about art is your story can really take a whole new shape and form to me, based on what I've been through. I can find myself, hear myself. I mean, what story are you telling with Love and Lies? Clearly, you're in a different place than with The Good and the Bad.
Yeah, I wanted to write an album. I wanted to put out an album, number one, that was more rhythm driven, because the one thing I was missing on the first album was like, or rather, the one thing I wanted more of was I want to dance. And dance is such a big part of my life, and dancing and moving and party and people coming together and gathering, and I also wanted to embrace this more grown, like, you know, uh, I think, I wanted to get a little more grown on this album, and I wanted to talk about sex like that and all types of that I didn't even really talk about on the first album. And I wanted to write some that will make people be like, I can't believe that came out of him. I can't believe he wrote that.
Lose My Mind. Come on. That record hits.
I want people, and I think we got there in the end, this album, I also wanted to write an album that I listened top to bottom and was like, that made me feel great. Like whether it makes you want to dance, whether it make you want to have sex, whether it make you want to take a shot, whatever it want to make you want to do, I wanted it to make you feel excited, or rather make me feel excited about going outside again too. Like, cause with the world opening up and us being able to party again together, and us being able to gather together and have community together and hug each other together and take shots together, like, and whatever we wanted, you know what I'm saying? Like that was the vibe when I put this record together. This is 2 years worth of songs I picked from to make this album. So this is my life did this in 2 years, So these were the collection of like 70 songs that I was like, this feels like the moment I want to put out now.
70 songs to get down to 12, which is quite the process, honestly. 70 songs. So what song that made it to the final album was the first song you had finished?
I think Lose My Mind was the first one that was done.
So does that set the tone for everything else to follow, or other songs in process?
It was funny that Lose My Mind almost wasn't even going to be on this album. Lose My Mind was the last song we decided to put on this album, because we were going back and forth. It was like, yo, should that be a standalone after the album? Should it be, and I was like, yo, there's two options. If we put this out, it's going to be the single that comes with the album that we hit them with the whole joint, with this joint as the center of it, or it's a standalone. We put it out later, then we do a deluxe version. We make that part of the deluxe version, blah, 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 blah. And after talking, we decided to put it out later. And we were going to put it out, and then release the album, a deluxe version. But then I was like, yo, we got to put this out right now.
It hits.
The deluxe version. Put this out right. This is crazy.
Yeah.
I was like, and I've been sitting on this song for 2 years, and everybody I played it for is like, this is absolutely bananas. And then it's like, I'm playing it now in playbacks, and it's like, yo, that is crazy. And I'm like, yes, this is what I've been trying to tell you.
Yeah, it almost ended up in the deluxe world, which is like, it's not, it's not a graveyard essentially, but like, I don't know.
No, yeah, and look, there still might be a deluxe. I think there still might be a deluxe. Who knows? We might get some remixes on certain joints and make it interesting in that way. You know what I'm saying? I haven't had any features on any of my songs, and I think I might start. If the people are saying this one's feeling good, that one's feeling good, then we might get some some features on some joints and put out a deluxe and spice it up. But I think right now is like, I think. I'm so proud of this album, bro. This album is the best I've ever written, bro. I can say that honestly and confidently with my chest. And a lot of people, it's funny, like being an actor, people are like, sometimes when you're an actor, you're going into music, people are like, oh, is this guy just an actor just trying to put out a record or whatever. And I think this is the record that is going to prove to people like, nah, I'm an artist.
I agree with that. I really do. Because one, we listen top to bottom. It's exquisite. There's a link in the description below if you haven't heard it. Lose My Mind is, well, I want to know Love and Lies. That's a record on the album, but it's also the title. At what point in this process does that name present itself?
At the end, which it happened on the first album. The same thing with this one. I think at a certain point, the music tells you what it wants to say. And that was sort of what happened on that was exactly what happened. I was like playing with mad different titles, yo. I'm talking about different lists, shared note files on the phone with the team and my boys and whoever, like, yo, what y'all think of this title? What we think of these 5? What we think of this one? Just throwing it at the wall. And finally, like, I was with my boy Will Wells, who executive produced the album, and I think I was just with Will, and we were talking about it, and we just like, man, Love and Lies, man. That it just feels like this whole album is, because it's like, these songs feel like unintentionally they feel like a catalog of stories about, is it love or is it lies? Is it somewhere in the middle? Because what feels like love is sometimes a lie, and what you sabotage yourself. Sometimes we self-sabotage ourselves out of, we're like, this is too good to be true. This is a lie, but it was actually love.
Yes.
And everything in the middle, and that's kind of what this album. Felt like it was.
Is Nobody Else a love or a lie?
Nobody Else?
Yeah, that song.
Nobody Else, I think, is love. That's it's like, yo, like, but there's that middle, that in between, right? There's nobody else is like, yo, I think I'm falling in love with you, but
Mm.
tell me really what you're thinking, because I can't think of nobody else. I don't want to overthink it, but I can't think of nobody else. You keep me waiting, patient, hanging on for you. So tell me really what you're thinking, because I can't think of nobody else. Right? All alone with face to face, just us in this place. When you dance like that, am I a man like that? Turn me on 100 times when you take your time getting down like that. If you're down, let's lay it all on the table. I can show you where my cards is at. You make a play, I want to be faithful, because you don't want to. You to make a play, I want to be faithful. So you don't want to change where my heart is at. Because when I'm with you, I want to lay low, do a lot of nothing and all of that. But if you feel the same, baby, say so. Because it's like that's what it is. It's that give and take. Like, you lying to me? Are you into it, or you love me like the way I love you?
How does the song start for you? Like, even does it start with a lyric? Does it start with somebody giving you a piece of production and you have to write to it? Does it start with you going through something and saying, okay, this is meant to be a song?
I think most of them start from a conversation. It's
Okay.
like, and I enjoy writing songs with, like, every now and then I'll write something by myself, but most of the time, 90% of the time, I'll write with other people, because I enjoy pulling ideas from other people's brains sometimes. Because sometimes I don't have it. If I'm doing 5 days a week, I'm writing songs. I don't have a concept in my head 5 days a week.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 of the 3, I got something in there. Maybe 2. I'll say more times 2. More times than not, it's 2 of them. But I love when my boy comes in, or one of my homies come in, or something. Yo, I thought of this, I thought of this concept, Love and Lies. Like, Love and Lies came from my boy Joel. I think. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly. And that song was inspired by my brother, who was playing a song called Louder Than Love by TKA, this freestyle song.
Okay.
Freestyle music was big in New York in the 80s and 90s. And, all of a sudden it kind of went away. And my brother was like, yo, Ant, he was just playing us. He's like, yo, Ant, you never done a vibe like this. And my boy Joel, who's also from New York, and he was like, yo, Ant, this would be crazy if we made a vibe like this. Nobody's doing this vibe anymore. And I said, wow, how crazy would it be if we did a freestyle joint? Still a pop joint, but it's a freestyle joint. And we have that flavor, and that's the foundation. And that's where that boom, 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 it's boom, 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 boom. It's like that crazy, like, off kind of beat with the do 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 do. That's all of that. That was, and then those melodies in freestyle, they're very, so the beat is hitting boom, 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 boom. And it's told you, I live a dangerous life trying to, like, those melodies are always spaced out in freestyle, mad spaced out. And I was like, yo, this is turning out to be crazy. And then you got to have the synth solo and all that. So it's such a long-winded answer to your question, but usually it starts off with a conversation, and then me and whoever's in the room will get in and start messing with melodies, and then we'll cut the melodies together in our favorite way. Whichever our favorite melodies, like, that's the first verse, that's the chorus, that's the pre, that's the bridge, blah blah blah. If we need a bridge, and then we're like, okay, now we're gonna put the words to the song.
And is it the same people for every song?
It's not the same people. On this last album, 9 of the 12 songs was written by the same, like, group of
Great.
people.
Wow.
But some of the older tracks, like right now, I wrote in quarantine. I wrote with Andres and Mauricio. My boy Will, still same person. So Will's the through line in all these songs. But Mauricio and Andres, who did, like, Despacito, and then Dave Stewart, who did the Dynamite joint, Jessica Gambar, they worked on the Dynamite joint for BTS. We did Nobody Else and Lose My Mind. But the rest of the joints.
Wow.
Were with the same crew. My boy from college, Joel Castillo, Will Wells, and then shout out to Jesse Shatkin, One Love and Kinetics from New York, and my boy Zayla, who actually plays the guitar in my band, and he got his first, like, major label cut on this album. We was just, like, pushing him. We was like, bro, come on, son, let's go. I know you got the beats. Stop playing. We coming to you. Came with the heat.
I mean, that's special, though. Like, to have to have such a tight group, but then also to allow somebody an opportunity like that is pretty freaking amazing, because it could change their life.
Yeah, I mean, well, he gave me an opportunity too. I mean, whether he looks at it or not, whether he looks at it that way or not, he had the heat. I'm not making beats like him,
Dude.
So I'm grateful for him.
Does
Shout
your
out to Zay.
Does your musical theater background bleed into your music at all, or are you able to separate those?
I think wanting to tell a story, I think comes from musical theater. You know, wanting to tell a story in the songs, but I think I think I sep my songs don't, especially not on this record. Like, it's very much this is very much a different. This is very much a pop record, you
Yeah.
know, or R&B, and like there ain't nothing musical theater about this, you know, which I'm so happy about because I didn't even grow up going to musicals or listening to musicals or um, you know, I didn't grow up with that in my life. It was always just music. It just so happened to be that the musical theater was my way in to the entertainment industry, you know, if you will. But I ain't like I didn't grow up like, you know, listening to show tunes. You know what I'm saying? Like my ex in high school, she tried to get me to watch Rent, and I was like, yo, I ain't watching this. You know, it was like, and now I love it. I have such an appreciation for Rent. But it was like in high school, it was just I was listening to John Legend and Usher, The Temptations. I was just, you know, 50 Cent's Get Rich or Die Trying album. I burned through the wall. 808s and Heartbreak. Like I'm just listening to all these records, you know, all these albums, and listening to my favorite artists and just kind of like studying them over and over. And then I started listening to other like John Mayer and City and Color and Bon Iver, and I'm like all types of, and that I think influences my music more than anything, or just my influences, like those guys and the sonics they use, and how I grew up in the music that I loved dancing to and listening to growing up. But musical theater, to really like take it home on your question, the musical theater, the storytelling aspect of it, I've really taken with me in writing songs. I can't. It's hard for me to write a song without telling a story. You know, it really is, and I enjoy looking for the little nuanced things and the, you know, what's going to elevate the story to the next level. We talked about this in the first verse of how do we take the story to the next level in the second verse, because I want to take people on a journey in the song. You know what I'm saying? At least I know that's what I look for when I listen to music. One of my favorite songs is a song called "The Men That Drive Me Places" by an artist called Ben Rector,
Okay.
and that song is about these cab drivers, these two different instances where these cab drivers picked him up, and he just like talks about how, you know, it's like Howard drives a minivan from the cruise ships from Fort Lauderdale, and it's been that way since 1994. He does his business on a flip phone with the most obnoxious ringtones. I didn't ask, but I could tell he's from New York. He spoke proudly of his daughter and that this fall she'd be in college, and that he always wished he'd gotten his degree. You could tell he came from nothing, built a future out of hustling, but somehow I'm the one you people paid to see. Oh, isn't that just the way it goes? You dealt a good hand and you get celebrated. Oh, how am I the only one who knows? I'm half the man of the men that drive me places.
Ooh.
That is the hardest. That's the craziest.
But songs aren't really told like that anymore.
And that's a musical theater.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
he ain't like a musical theater guy. He's just writing from his heart. And I think, you know, there's
Wow.
anyway, that there's that element of songwriting that I try to bring, even if the song is four to the floor, even if we shaking our ass to the I still want a little bit of the story in there.
Well, because there's genuinely genius and nuance, truly, and I think that's what musical theater is really like. There, you need every little thing kind of matters, and every little thing adds up. Truthfully,
Yeah.
it's all part of
Yeah.
the story. Question: masterpiece. What is a masterpiece? What type of masterpiece are you talking about in the song?
Just the most beautiful like person you've ever seen. Like you're like, yo, you something out of the Louvre. They don't make you in twos. That's the lyric. You know, it's like I'm about to look up the lyrics to the song. I don't even remember my lyrics to my song, but it's like, but the song masterpiece is about like, here, let me see if I can find these lyrics. It's like, it's somewhere in here, but it's like, I could tell that you're different by the way that you walk. Everything I've been missing, I could tell when you talk. I'm doing this from memory right now, so bear with me, please. It's like, anything you want, girl, yeah, you know you got it. Two-tone on that Paddock, matching Birkin wallet. You know what, when I see it, even though, girl, you be hiding, put you in a foreign, shorty, how you flying private. I just want to tell you the truth, baddest one in the room, something out of the Louvre. They don't make you in twos. You a classic, magic, savage, lavish, masterpiece. You're classy, baddie, flashy, nasty masterpiece, shape out of control. No, I can't leave it alone. Let me see you in that Fenty, love watching you let go. Baby, take me through that Kama Sutra. Ooh, I want to know what you could do, yeah. Won't let them know, keep the secret close. Take me to the places you don't want to let nobody go. I just want to tell you the truth. Baddest one in the room, something out of the Louvre. They don't make them like you. You're a classic magic set, right?
But like, are you thinking about the person you're with? Are you thinking about yourself?
About
Like
no, I think I was just in my head. You thinking about like, what would you say to this person? Like in the room, we were like, what would you say to someone who is literally the most beautiful person you've ever seen in your life? Like, what does that look like? And I think honestly, what sparked this song, it wasn't even about like, it didn't even start off about a person. I just heard the strings. My boy was like, yo, the beat, he was playing beats, my boy Jesse, and I'm listening to these beats and we just trying to catch a vibe, get inspired. And then he's like, all right, we picked a couple beats, but I was like, I don't know if we feeling those today. He's like, well, I got a couple string parts, but they're just strings. That's all I got. And we heard these strings. I heard these strings and I was like, yo, that is crazy. I said, put some 808s underneath that.
And
we need to put 808s underneath that. The drums need to smack, and that's the beat. And I said, and we're gonna write a song, and then they're a little like, if you can hear the string, like, baby, it's just me, don't gotta rush. In the bridge, I just want a piece of something lovely. You the only one, you're the only. And that's my boy Will plays this beautiful like piano, like beautiful, like delicate solo on the like part underneath, classical part underneath, with these string plucks like happening, because I still wanted that classical element mixed with that sort of R&B hip hop feel.
Why is that important for the larger sonic image that you're trying to tell or like present?
Honestly, it's just for me. Like, it's just so when I listen back, I'm like, that was fly. We had a good time doing that. And like, hopefully somebody picks that up, right? But most people don't, right? They're just like, it's either the beat hits or it doesn't. But like, I love to explain. This is why I'm so happy you even asked me about these songs specifically, because each one has this album was very sonically driven, and the first one was very like autobiographical and the words drove everything. Yes. But this one is very much driven by the sonics, and that told us what we were going to say. And and it's important for me, especially on this album, where it was like to let the sonics lead us where they want us to go, right? Where it wants us to go. Like if there's strings, let's call it masterpiece. What do we associate with classical music? Beautiful things, dressing up. We listen to classical music in the museum. So I was like, I started to think, I'm like, let's write about this beautiful sculpture. Like, what would it look like if you saw this person who was the most beautiful sculpture, their masterpiece, and there's violins playing underneath them, but there's this smacking 808 drum feel kind of thing playing underneath. And then we can flow under. I could tell that you're different by the way that you are. Anything I've been missing, I can tell when you talk. Anything you want, girl, yeah, you know you got it. Two-tone on that Patek, matching Birkin wallet, and then swing it. Knowing when to see it, even though, girl, you be hiding. Put you in the front, so yeah, you flying private. Wanna tell you the truth, baddest one in the room. Something out of the loop, they don't make you in twos, you a classic. Like,
do you move from telling your own story to more sonics because you feel like your story's already been told? Or you have like a different goal in mind, right? Which is to make people move.
Yeah, I mean, like I told a version of my story in the first album, and I'll never stop telling my story. Like, and there are a couple songs on the album that are like really personal to me, right? But like most of these songs, the concept just came from listening to the beat.
I want to know when you knew the album was finished officially.
I knew the album was done when there comes a point in time where you've just written, you've written too many songs. Like you're like, yo, there's too much now. Like, stop, because then you really can't pick.
But how do you know you have the right order or you pick the right ones?
A lot of time and cutting down. I mean, it was multiple like meetings about, especially with my boy Will. Me and Will just sitting there, or me and my boy Will, my manager Alexis, we just sitting there and we just like, all right, let's just pick our favorite 30. and you pick the favorite 30, and you cut it down to 25, and you cut it down to 18, and then you cut it down to 14, and you're like, well, do you want the album to be 14 songs? And then I said, no, I want this one to be 12. And my A&R was like, yo, it's 12 or 14, whatever you thinking. And I was like, I really want this to be 12. And we cut 2. But we do have a special edition. So there is an album version that's 14 songs, but you can only get it at Target. Like Target was like, you got to add 2 more songs if you want your album in our stores. I was like, all right, Target.
You had them. You have 70. You started at 70.
So we got 14. If you buy the album in Target, you get 14 songs. If you get the album on streaming or wherever else you can get it, you get the 12. And but yeah, 12 was like the magic number for me, just because I just feel like that's and it was a good amount of time. I think the album probably is 40 minutes or something like that. It's just a good amount of time where someone can sit and catch the whole vibe, and it ain't too long, but it ain't, it's not like 25 minutes. Some of these albums now are like 2 minutes a song. Like that was 2-minute songs. I'm like, wow. I mean, and those smack, right, in their own right. But I was like, I was like, I think 12 is the magic number. A 40-minute mark is perfect, and that's how we got there. And then it was just like, and then I had a different sequence than the sequence on the album, But and it became more like the sequence was, at first it was more about the story, like this song will go into this one because of this character does this. But I did that on the first album. I just want to put banger, 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 like I don't even, it's just a vibe. And again, going back to your point, was this album was led by the sonics and not the through line of the story. Every song is going to have a story in it, but going back to your point, you're right. This album was led and is led by the sonics. The sonics are what drove all of the decisions in how we wrote the song, the order of the album, everything.
What story are you telling in I Can't Get By?
I mean, I Can't Get By is a story about, like a relationship that, that feels like it's at a standstill. I'd be lying to you if I said that, I've been in a relationship for 6 years now, right? So I think there comes a point where that song came from a real place. That song came from a place where it's just, when you feel like, are we on the same page? Are we communicating? Like where are we even, to be honest? And I think, it's that was a really hard song for me to write, because I feel like I got to hide behind all these other songs. Really, I got to really just hide behind the themes and the music. This is about a crazy night out or whatever. But this song I couldn't hide, and I think, it was almost like therapeutic, and I think this was about I think a moment, right, where I felt like I don't know where we're at, right? I don't know where we are in this moment. I don't know how to communicate. We aren't communicating. I don't know. I can't, but I can't get by like this. I can't get by on the things that we're used to, just because we're used to just getting by, right? Like, it's like, can we work on this? Or, because I'd rather feel about hard conversations than us like not
having them. Yeah.
Us just getting by. Because we know so many people who just get by in life, period. And they're just like, I can't tell you how many people you ask, or rather, homies or whatever, you ask them, how you doing? And they're like, yeah, I'm maintaining.
Yeah, existing.
I don't want to just maintain, especially not in my relationship. Like, I'm like, so I think that's kind of where the song came from.
Is it hard to share it?
It's definitely hard to share. I mean, I'm scared to put the song out because I already know people are gonna, there's already coming out about me and Jasmine, our relationship online. It's like, then all the other extra, then people want to say whatever they want, after that, because they listen to the music and they make whatever kind of
Assumptions.
assumption, right? But I think anyone who's been in any kind of long relationship period, right? Whether that's with a partner or that's with a family member, knows that there are hard times, and it's how do you get through that? How do you get through that? Because that, unanimously in the history of the world and relationships, is how you get through that makes you stronger. So
Yeah.
I think, but that was a real moment for me, and I think that was something that I wanted to. It was something that I said, this is very different from the other that I put out on the first one. And I said, this song is a totally opposite feeling from what the first, from what all these songs about being in love, almost like puppy love will make people feel, right? This is real love right here. And this one is like, and this song is, it was very hard for me to make the decision to put it on the album. Actually, it wasn't hard for me to make the decision to put it on the album. It was hard for me to accept the fact that it was so easy. And it was hard for me to just let it go. Like, it's all right, let it go. You've made a decision already.
Interesting. Was it?
Now
Were you sad that it was even there to begin with because it showed fault in your relationship?
Yeah, right. I think anything that makes you look vulnerable or makes you look weak, if you will, or looks like, or when you listen back, you're like, I feel like I failed in that moment. It's crazy even talking to you about it right now. I could, it's me up a little bit, but it's like listening back to that song, you're like, did I fail?
But
Did we fail? It's like, and it's like, or rather like it takes you back to that moment. You didn't fail, but in that moment you felt like a failure.
But
I felt like,
does the song help you grow or strengthen the relationship?
I think so. I think it reminds me of how I don't want to feel.
Yeah.
I think it would remind anybody, right? I hope, I think it reminds you like how you don't want to feel, in a relationship. And it helps you as a person, you meaning me, do all I can to remember what that feels like and be like, okay, well, what do I need to do to not feel that? What do I have to do personally? And I think all types of things come into play, right? Therapy and support system, faith, and things like that. But that's a song that came from a visceral and a real place.
What do you want people to take away, and learn about you from this album?
I want people to listen to this album and number one, embrace. First of all, I want them to feel good, 1,000%, right? Like, there are very few songs that make you feel like I can't get by on this album. Maybe two, right? And the other one is still, the beat is banging. It's called Right Now, and I call that one the crying in the club song. You're like, why am I on all fours, but I'm bawling, but I'm my ass is in the air. What's happening, right? I think that's the goal, right? And that song is about, feeling like, yo, I don't think you could love me right now. I don't know if you're actually even really here, and I don't think you could love me right now. That's the chorus, right? It's that's what the vibe is of that song. You say I'm the only, but why isn't when we're together I feel so lonely? You're scrolling your phone, you're looking for nothing, like you're missing something. Am I not the only one? You keep telling me it's all right, telling me we're all right, playing this game for so long. We keep acting like it's all fine, but I know it ain't right. I don't think you could love me right now, right? But there's still that banging beat underneath, boom, 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 boom. I just want people to feel good listening to this album, and I want this album to get people excited about being outside again, and again connecting with people and connecting with each other, and honestly, and just being the wildest version of themselves, right? In hopes that brings them to wherever the center is for them. But sometimes we need to go over the deep end.
Hell yeah.
A little bit for us to really understand what the deep end feels like, for us to be like, okay, maybe I'm not ready to swim at 18 feet. Maybe let me start at 6.
Truth.
You know what I'm saying? And let me work my way. Let me snorkel before I scuba dive. But this one right here, we scuba diving.
Do you want people to listen to lyrics, or do you want people to move to the beat? At least on first listen.
On the first listen, I just want people honestly to feel whatever they feel. Like don't be on the lookout for anything. Just literally let the beat smack, let the music hit, and let that make you feel whatever you feel. Eventually, I love when people look up the lyrics because I always have stories in the music. But for me, the most important thing, sonic driven, beat rhythm driven. Like I want you to feel the music first, right? I want you to just sit and feel that. It makes you dance. It makes you want to grind on somebody with their consent, do it, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like if it make you want to, again, take a shot, party, whatever, it makes you want to cry, do it. But, but definitely I want people to just feel the music, man. I want people to just feel it. Play that top to bottom, play it at the parties, and I Can't Get By, I think I Can't Get By was the perfect bookend because it was just like, after we go through that wave of emotions and we go through that party, there's still, at the heart of it, there's still vulnerability in the middle of it all. And in all of our behavior and everything we do and all the decisions we make in life, there's a sense of vulnerability and a sense of like longing for whatever it is. I'm sad because X, Y, Z, or I'm happy because X, Y. There's something at the center of that, and that song reminds me that still at the center of that party we just went through is this.
Yeah, doesn't go away. What do you want? What'd you learn from making this album? How'd you grow?
I got to embrace, I think, myself, number one, as an artist, and like not shying away from like doing or saying things on a record that I felt people were gonna question me about or be like, well, is he, like there's a certain perception, right? When you're in a long-term relationship, you come from Broadway, you got whatever. What kind of movies I've been in, what kind of musical out, this thing I did before, whatever. I think there's a certain perception that people have of you that they want you to keep up for them. Yeah. Not even for you, for them, because it makes them feel comfortable with the way they see you. And I think it's weird. This album was like, this is for me. This is for you, because now it's yours. But when I was writing these songs, I was like, this is for me. I'm going to embrace the sexual side of myself. I'm going to embrace the part of me that I love getting lit and chilling with my friends, staying out late, all that. I enjoy those things. And I make mistakes. I f up. I'm not this perfect, like, whatever thing. And I wanted that to be out in the world. I think that was important for me because that is a crucial part of how we grow as human beings. That is such a, like, being able to give people the contrast. And the first album was called The Good and the Bad. It's like, you cannot have one without the other. And I think that for me was the most important thing with this record, was like, I want banging beats. I want this to feel crazy, this vibe to feel unbelievable. And I want to talk about stuff that people might not expect.
Can you have one without the other? Love and Lies? Like, do they, like, Good and the Bad go hand in hand?
That's the thing. They don't, right? I even wrote a song in my first album called Little Lies. You name one relationship where a person in a relationship didn't tell a little lie, or a big one. You can't name one. You know what I'm saying? They don't go, because, especially long-lasting love, it's like, I lied about that, or no, I've been telling, it's like, I was telling the truth about that. No, I wasn't lying about that, blah, 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 right? There's all types of you go back and forth about, right? Oh, I was keeping that from you because I was afraid of how you was going to feel.
Yeah.
Like the first song is, remember, it's like, we just don't say, get you feeling some type of way. Lying by omission like a politician, because you know that the little lies, they got big consequences. I'm a good guy with things that I'm regretting that I forgot to mention because the little lies have big consequences. Like, that song was on the first album. So it was almost like that song teed up this album.
Yeah. It's true. That song is so honest. Nail on the head, dude.
Yeah.
Wow. But you only notice these connections after it's all done, right? You don't notice.
Yeah, I didn't even notice this connection until now I'm talking to you. I love this conversation. Has been so amazing because I'm like making all these discoveries in real time.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing that you get a chance to actually, like, examine your own art for a second? Like, that it's finished, it's done, it's out there to a certain degree. I mean, it's about to go out to everybody, but, like, it's done. Like, it's yours. It's 100% yours.
Yeah, bro. And it's amazing when people care enough to like dig in with you.
Yes.
That's even more that feeling is even better. It's like when I can dig in, because sometimes you feel like you're making this record or you writing these songs or whatever, and you feel alone sometimes. And it's always nice when somebody says, well, tell me about this song. Well, tell me about that song. What inspired that title? Oh, that connected to that. And you're just like, yo, and sometimes you feel like you in this bubble. And thank God somebody pops the bubble and is like, no, 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 no. I want to know what was going on in that bubble. Let's talk about it. And you're like, oh, let's go. Let's be in this bubble
But
together.
and it's the first time that you're sharing the bubble with people, which is yeah.
And it can, it's scary. It is scary because all the time, right? Like you say whatever you're gonna say or you make whatever you're gonna make, and then it's up for the public's interpretation, and people will take it how they do, right? And you hope more people love it than not. But the scary, I mean, it's like having, I mean, I don't have a kid, but I can only imagine, I know my friends with kids, especially my friends who are older, who have kids who have gone off to college or have left their house. They're like, yo, that's one of the scariest moments of my life. It's when it's almost felt like I was giving my kid over to the world, and my kid is now subject to whatever the world is going to do to them,
And
and that's how I feel about my music.
that is this. Listen to Anthony Ramos's Child. There's a link in the description below. Love and Lies. What are you thinking, Daniel?
Well, with the acting side, do you almost like not really expect, but do you just expect to have a role in everything Lin-Manuel Miranda does? I just mumbled his name, but Lin-Manuel. It's one of those names I just can never get out.
All right, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, Lin-Manuel Miranda. There we go.
I do not expect. No, he just put out a movie just now. Tick Tick Boom. I'm not in that,
Oh, that's true.
but he's about to put that.
Yes.
But I am grateful for the roles for the roles and the things that he's made that he's given me a part in. But yeah, no, it's cool though. It's cool that people even think that, because he's a genius, bro. To be associated with somebody like him, that's a
Good company.
lesson. That's a good company. I will never complain about that.
And I saw that Tick Tick Boom preview before In the Heights, by the way, at the movie theater.
Yep.
Looks absolutely exquisite. And this year is a big year for musical theater. You have Dear Evan Hansen, you have West Side Story, obviously In the Heights. I mean, you are in some pretty iconic classic company, which is, yeah it's pretty wild.
And I'm excited because I really believe that all of those joints are going to be amazing. I do believe that Dear Evan Hansen is going to be probably one of the most beautiful films. I ain't even seen it, but I feel it. And West Side Story, I think Steven is gonna kill that. That cast is amazing. And I know a lot of them cast from the musical theater world too, man. Them cast, that's a juggernaut group of performers, man. And Tick Tick Boom, I think, again, I think Lynn, my man's what he's got a knack. What he touches is gold, man. So I really believe that Tick Tick's gonna be special. And again, Robin DeJesus, Vanessa Hudgens, all them cast. I think it's Andrew Garfield's the lead. Like, that's a fire cast, man. Like, I'm excited for movie musicals and musical theater in general, man. Especially with Broadway being closed for as long as it's been closed since the pandemic. I think this is a beautiful, almost like a welcoming back to Broadway. Not only like through screen, but like almost like a welcome back to the movie musical, like welcome back to this movie musical, like feast, as well as like welcome back to Broadway, welcome back to live performances, not even just Broadway, welcome back to the theater, welcome back to live performance.
I'll say this until the day I die. Nobody performs like a Broadway performer will ever perform. I mean, there's a magic and an energy and a leave it all wherever they are standing energy that is, I mean, it's energy that only somebody who could literally their actions on stage can throw an entire show can have. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing like the pressure of being on stage and performing at that caliber.
Yeah, and being with a group of people who are all like, you're all on the same mission. Everybody's like, everyone. The theater community is like one of the most supportive communities, if not the most in my opinion, of like music and
Totally.
film and television and like, because honestly, yo, if you in theater, you ain't doing that for money. You know, I could give you out of 10
true.
working actors in the theater, maybe 3 of them are making like a solid living where they can like eat filet mignon whenever they want, if they want. Like the rest, still, you know what I'm saying? Especially off Broadway, we was doing Hamilton off Broadway for like 400. I was taking home maybe 420 a week, maybe 400 a week or something like that. Like you ain't doing that for money. I was doing the same show on Broadway for that much, and like you're doing it because you love it. And
That's
I think
it.
there's that spirit that and people still putting it all on the line every night, putting it all on the line. So that's why it's like, I'm like, I told this story recently. I said, like, when I'm on tour and they be like trying to stack the shows, even though I'm not encouraging my team to stack the shows by no means. But, if there is a run where we got to do 3, 4 in a row, like, I'm like, let's go, bring it. Challenge accepted, man. I was doing 8 a week, man.
Yeah, you can do that. And I'm telling you, nobody can do it like a Broadway performer can do it. And that unity and that it's like you're in battle and everybody on that stage is in it together. And I mean, it's break a leg, fall on the cast, dude. You guys have to have each other's back no matter what role, big or small. It's so beautiful, the intricacies. And I love theater. I miss it. Do you know what show you're going to see when it comes back? September 14th, it opens up.
Man, what show? Shoot. I don't know what show I'm going to see. I mean, I might go see Hamilton. It ain't been a minute anyway. I ain't seen that in that long. I might go see it when I go back to New York. I might slide in through the back door, see if I know somebody. Nah, I'll pay for the ticket.
You knock and look for the freebies. Love and Lies, man. This is the album. You got to listen to it. This is a sophomore album coming from Anthony Ramos. I really appreciate you, man. Beyond belief. And I appreciate the stories you're telling in this, but also the Sonics lead. And you want to groove and you want to move when you listen to it. It hits.
Yo, thank you, brother. Thanks for always showing love, man. And I'm so proud of this joint. Everybody go out and listen to this, man. I'm telling you this. I'm fully confident, and I say it with my chest, this album will not disappoint. We went hard in the paint, and it's yours. Burn this shit through the wall. Let's go. Let's take the number 1.
Woo.
Let's hit the charts. Let's go.
Woo! Love and Lies. Link in the description below. Listen to it. Anthony, thank you, sir. Really, you're an incredible energy and amazing performer, and thank you.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Hey, beautiful human, thanks for watching our full interview, but I get it. Like, a full interview is a lot. So we got a clips channel. We don't expect you to watch the full thing anymore, so we just gave you the highlights. Please subscribe and notifications and all that stuff. Okay, cool. I love you.